Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're going to be tackling something we all experience constantly but rarely think about in depth.
Gravity.
Gravity, exactly. We've got an expert transcript packed with insights about its history, its mysteries, and even its potential implications for free will.
Yeah, it's fascinating how such a familiar force can still hold so many secrets.
Right.
These sources take us on quite a journey from Galileo's early observations to cutting-edge theories that could rewrite our understanding of the universe.
Okay, so let's unpack this, starting with those early understandings of gravity. The transcript mentions that classic story of Galileo dropping objects from the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Did that actually happen?
Well, like many historical anecdotes, it's likely more legend than fact. It seems Galileo's student, Vincenzo Viviani, popularized this story, but there's no evidence Galileo himself ever documented conducting the experiment.
Oh, interesting.
What's important is the underlying concept. Objects of different masses fall at the same rate, neglecting air resistance, of course. That was a radical departure from the prevailing Aristotelian view that heavier objects fall faster.
So it was more about challenging the accepted wisdom, even if the experiment itself is a bit of a myth. And this idea of objects falling at the same rate was crucial to later understandings of gravity, right?
Absolutely. It laid the groundwork for Newton's work, who truly revolutionized our view of gravity. He realized that the force pulling an apple to the ground or nearly giving someone a concussion was the same force governing the motion of planets and stars.
Wow.
That's universal gravitation, the idea that everything attracts everything else.
Hmm. It's amazing how Newton connected something so mundane to the grand workings of the cosmos. But even his theory had its limits, right?
Yes, Newton's theory couldn't fully explain certain phenomena like the slight wobble in Mercury's orbit.
Okay.
It also couldn't account for how light, which has no mass, could be affected by gravity. This is where Einstein comes in with his theory of relativity, which completely changed our understanding of gravity, space, and time.
So how did Einstein's view of gravity differ from Newton's?
It has something to do with space-time, right? That always makes my head spin a little.
Think of it this way. Newton saw gravity as a force acting across space.
Okay.
Einstein, on the other hand, described gravity as a curvature of space-time itself. Imagine space-time as a giant rubber sheet. A massive object like the sun creates a dip in this sheet. And that's what we experience as gravity. Objects are essentially following the contours of this warped space-time.
So it's not that the Earth is being pulled towards the sun, but rather that it's following the curve created by the sun's mass in space-time.
Exactly. And this warping of space-time has some mind-blowing implications. For one, it means that time itself is affected by gravity. The stronger the gravitational field, the slower time passes. Think
What?
about that. Time's not absolute, but relative to the gravitational field you're in.
Whoa, so someone living at sea level would experience time slightly differently than someone on top of Mount Everest. Yes, although the difference is incredibly small. But this effect is actually essential for technologies like GPS, which rely on incredibly precise timekeeping to function.
Hmm.
Without accounting for the effects of relativity, GPS systems would be hopelessly inaccurate.
That's incredible. So this seemingly abstract concept of warped spacetime has very real practical implications. And Einstein's theory also explained those anomalies that stumped Newton, like Mercury's orbit and the bending of light.
Exactly. And it predicted phenomena like gravitational lensing, where the gravity of massive objects can actually bend the light from more distant objects, acting like a cosmic magnifying glass.
Hmm.
Einstein's theory, while radical at the time, has been remarkably successful in explaining and predicting a wide range of gravitational phenomena.
It really makes you appreciate the power of his insights, but even Einstein's theory leaves some mysteries unanswered, right?
Of course, the universe is full of mysteries. One of the biggest puzzles is why gravity is so weak compared to the other fundamental forces. Think about it. You can easily overcome the gravitational pull of the entire Earth just by picking up a book.
Yeah, that's true.
Why is the force that shapes galaxies so easily overpowered by a tiny magnet?
That is strange when you think about it. This force that holds galaxies together is weaker than a fridge magnet. What's the explanation for this?
That's a question that has puzzled physicists for decades. One intriguing possibility is that gravity might be leaking into other dimensions.
Other
Yeah,
dimensions.
imagine our three-dimensional universe as a slice of bread within a much larger loaf. If gravity can extend into those other dimensions, its force would be spread out, making it appear weaker in our three-dimensional world.
Okay, so our slice of bread universe is just one part of a much larger multi-dimensional reality, and gravity is the only force that can reach across those slices.
It's a fascinating idea, and it ties into another mind-bending concept, the cosmic sensor. The transcript mentions this idea proposed by physicist Roger Penrose, who, as a side note, also designed those impossible staircases you see in the movie Inception.
Wait, really? The staircases that seem to go up and up forever but always loop back on themselves?
Yes, the very same. But back to the cosmic sensor. This is a hypothetical mechanism that supposedly prevents certain events from happening in the universe,
Oh.
events that would violate the fundamental laws of physics.
So what kind of events is it censoring?
Think about the concept of a singularity. It's a point of infinite density, like what's believed to exist at the center of a black hole.
Right.
Now, singularities are usually hidden behind an event horizon, the point of no return, where gravity is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape.
Right, the cosmic point of no return, so a naked singularity would be...
A singularity without an event horizon, meaning it would be exposed to the rest of the universe. The idea is that the cosmic sensor prevents these naked singularities from forming because they would create all sorts of paradoxes and potentially wreak havoc on the laws of physics as we know them.
That makes sense. It's like the universe has a built-in safety mechanism to prevent things from going completely haywire. But how does this tie back to free will? The transcript hinted at a connection there.
Here's where things get really interesting. Consider the classic time travel paradox. What happens if you go back in time and prevent your own birth?
Right.
It creates a logical contradiction. Some physicists believe that the cosmic sensor might be the reason why such paradoxes can occur.
Okay.
If you try to change the past in a way that violates causality, it could potentially create a naked singularity. The cosmic sensor would step in to prevent this, essentially safeguarding the integrity of the timeline.
So it's like the universe is protecting itself from our meddling with the past. But does that mean our future is predetermined? Is there no room for free will if the cosmic sensor exists?
That's a deep philosophical question, and one that the transcript doesn't answer definitively. It does, however, raise the possibility that our choices might be constrained within the boundaries of what's physically possible, boundaries set by the laws of physics, and potentially enforced by this cosmic sensor.
It's a fascinating, if somewhat unsettling thought. If the cosmic sensor exists, it seems to imply that there are limits to what we can do, even with time travel. But it also suggests that the universe has a remarkable ability to protect itself, to maintain a certain order, even in the face of seemingly impossible events.
Indeed. And this brings us back to the concept of gravity as a multidimensional force. If gravity can interact with other dimensions, perhaps it's the key to understanding not just the large-scale structure of the universe, but also the very fabric of reality itself.
So gravity isn't just about holding planets in orbit. It might be fundamental to how the universe operates on a much deeper level.
Precisely. And the fact that it's so weak in our three-dimensional world could be a clue that its true power lies elsewhere, in those hidden dimensions we can't yet perceive.
It's like we're seeing only a tiny fraction of gravity's true potential. It makes you wonder what incredible things we might discover if we could somehow tap into that hidden power.
That's a question that scientists are actively exploring. There are some truly mind-bending theories out there about how manipulating gravity might lead to breakthroughs in physics and even allow us to do things like travel between dimensions or harness its power for interstellar travel.
Wow, that's incredible. So are there any observable effects of these other dimensions on Earth? Could those unexplained gravitational anomalies we sometimes hear about be signs of something more?
The transcript mentions this possibility, yes. There are certain places on Earth where gravity seems to behave strangely. While many of these anomalies can be explained by geological factors, some remain unexplained.
Hmm.
Could they be hints of other dimensions interacting with our own? It's certainly a tantalizing thought.
It makes you wonder if those stories about weird gravity hills and magnetic vortices could be more than just local legends.
It certainly adds a new layer of intrigue to those mysteries, and it highlights how much we still don't know about gravity and its role in the grand scheme of things.
So we've talked about how gravity is this multifaceted force, shaping the universe on a grand scale, while also potentially holding the key to unlocking some of its deepest secrets. But the transcript also mentions that despite its apparent weakness, gravity is the force that ultimately governs the large-scale structure of the universe. How is that possible?
That's a great point. It all comes down to range. Unlike the other fundamental forces, gravity has an infinite range.
Hmm.
Think about it. Every atom in your body is being pulled towards every other atom in the universe by gravity.
Wow, that's a pretty amazing thought. So even though we don't feel the gravitational pull of a distant star, it's still there, subtly influencing us.
Precisely. And over vast cosmic distances, this cumulative effect becomes incredibly powerful. It's why gravity is the architect of galaxies, star clusters, and even the cosmic web, the vast network of filaments and voids that make up the large-scale structure of the universe.
So it's like a cosmic tug of war where gravity, despite being the weakest player individually, ultimately wins because it has the longest reach.
Exactly. And the transcript makes an interesting analogy. It compares the four fundamental forces to the Infinity Stones from the Marvel Universe.
Oh, okay.
Each force is like a cosmic building block with its own unique properties.
I love that analogy. So strong force, weak force, electromagnetism, and gravity, each one a powerful entity in its own right.
And just like the Infinity Stones, physicists believe that these forces were once unified in the very early universe, just moments after the Big Bang.
So there was a time when all these forces were combined into one superforce.
That's the prevailing theory. And finding a way to unify these forces into one grand theory, a theory of everything, is one of the holy grails of modern physics.
It's like finding the ultimate formula that explains all the workings of the universe. Have scientists made any progress towards this unified theory?
They have. They've already successfully unified the weak force and electromagnetism into what's called the electroweak force.
So two down, two to go.
Right.
When do we get that unified field theory that explains it all?
Well, it's a work in progress. And as we've seen, gravity is the trickiest one to incorporate because we still understand so little about its true nature.
It seems like gravity is the final piece of the puzzle, the key to unlocking the deepest secrets of the universe.
It really is. And who knows what incredible breakthroughs await us once we finally crack the code of gravity.
This deep dive has been quite a journey. We've explored gravity's history, from Galileo to Newton to Einstein, and pondered its mind-bending mysteries, warped space-time, other dimensions, and even the cosmic sensor.
And we've seen how gravity, despite being the weakest force, shapes the cosmos on the grandest scales. It's a force that connects us all, a force that we experience every moment of our lives, yet one that we still barely understand.
So, what's the final takeaway for our listeners? What's the one thing we want them to remember about gravity?
I think the most important thing is to cultivate a sense of wonder and curiosity. Gravity is a force that we encounter every day, yet it holds profound mysteries.
Right.
It governs the stars, warps time, and might even be the key to unlocking the secrets of other dimensions.
And as we continue to probe its mysteries, who knows what incredible discoveries await us? Perhaps we'll find that gravity is the key to understanding dark matter, dark energy, or even the origin of the universe itself.
It's an exciting time to be alive, and the quest to understand gravity is one of the greatest adventures of our time.
So, to our listeners, keep looking up at the stars, keep asking questions, and keep exploring the mysteries of gravity. It's a journey that never ends, and the rewards are truly cosmic.